meeting of the town trustees of 9/20/21. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Allegiance
to the flag
of
of the United States of America, and to the republic
which stands
for which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under God,
under God,
under God,
indivisible,
with liberty
and justice for all.
Yeah.
Okay, will the Secretary Treasurer please call the roll?
President Eric Schultz,
Present.
Secretary Treasurer Horowitz, I'm obviously here. Trustee Edward J. Warner Jr.,
Present.
Trustee William Pell IV,
Present.
Trustee Ann Welker.
Here.
Mr. President, we have a quorum today.
Okay, great. So the first item on the agenda is the acceptance of the meetings of the special meeting of September 15th, 2021 at 4 p.m. I make a motion to be approved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Discussion next. Suffolk County dredging update. Ed Warner.
As we talk, the Suffolk County DPW is headed to middle on a far pond to start the dredging project down there. They'll be mobilizing this afternoon, putting pipes on the beach once the tide gets low, and hopefully start pumping tomorrow morning down there. And then they're going to head over to the middle pond and do that project too. So they're going to be busy in Shinnecock for the next week or so here.
Okay,
Then they're
great.
going to head over to Cold Springs and then over to Sabonic.
And they're going to do it in the same place, right? They're going to dredge the channel in the same place as they always have in the Far Pond.
That's what they marked out. They were not able to do any adjustments or modifications because of the constraints with COVID and getting in touch with all the regulatory authorities, which they couldn't get in touch with. So they're
Okay,
going to do the dredging, and then hopefully the next dredging cycle, it will be moved over as per our recommendation, where the historic channel has been for the last, 40 plus years.
all right, better than nothing.
Move it to Fresh Pond.
They did Fresh Pond already.
They did Fresh Pond.
Yep.
And
Okay,
Willie's Pond was on the list, but did not make the cut because of the depth of water, or we're waiting to get the water depths from the Bay Constables.
okay. So Ann wanted to discuss something about the wait lists.
The resolution for the dredging was on today as well, 2021-225. If the board's inclined to make that request for the modification, request to Suffolk DPW.
Okay. Ann?
Sure. Hi, everybody. So there's been a bit of discussion about, and Jess and Sean, I'll let you chime in just to flesh this out. The possibility of digitalizing the trustee wait lists and also assigning a nominal fee to people who are presently on the wait list or would like to be put on wait list for several different programs. This has been suggested as it could be a way to make this program more efficient, or this part of the program more efficient, and also as a bit of a revenue generator, and also to make sure that the people who are on the wait list are committed to this. So Sean or Jess, I'm not sure which one of you wants to fill in a bit. Jess, you or Sean?
What I would say is that adding like a digital, talking to like IT and adding a digital wait list would be really beneficial to the office, in my opinion. I think it would be easy for the public as well, hopefully. And it would benefit, hopefully, like the waterfowl wait list, dock slip programs, moorings. Trying to think of what else has wait lists. I think that's all for right now. I think that it would be really beneficial to the office and save some time and be really efficient if we could get it to work out with IT.
So instead of getting calls to the office all the time about where people are on the wait list, then they could just go online and see where they are, and it would be, give transparency to everything. Is that what you're saying? Basically, so.
I would hope so, yeah. I would hope that we'd be able to work it out with IT so that they would be able to check their status and apply online and check online. So that would be the goal, I think.
I like to apply it to the kayak canoe, paddleboard
That as well.
program that we're running too. We just got it started this year, but I can see that really getting legs and running pretty next year once everybody hears about it. So that would be another one of the programs you should have definitely. on
Counties
there.
have even using
Bless
this
you.
too.
The more use of technology for transparency and efficiency is definitely the way to go for the office. So as long as IT is able to accommodate us, and I think it's
Well, I don't think it has to be updated like every week. I mean, things don't move that fast. So maybe every 6 months or every quarter or something like that, if the list could get reviewed and then just send it up to IT, whatever works
Yeah, I
out.
mean,
Whatever
different programs have different needs. Like the
Right.
paddleboard program in the spring would be probably updated more on a weekly list. The other stuff like the duck hunting and stuff like that would be like either a half year or a yearly update on that. So each program would have a different need as far as updating. So I think it's a really good idea.
I mean, I would speak to IT and see how, since it would be digitized, see how often that system itself will make its updates. So I think we need a continued dialogue with the IT department. I think we'll reveal a lot of those timelines and answers.
This was sort of an introductory, are we interested type thing. Sean, what did you want to?
The county does theirs in real time, and people pay, I think it's $20 for slips to be on the wait list. So if the board's inclined, when we do the fee schedule for the upcoming year, we could work in some kind of component, whether you want a fee or not. If you're interested in this, we could have the IT department come in for a work session with the board.
I think they definitely should. And I think probably the way the system works, it probably would be more of a real time type of an update. So people know where they stand. I mean, the more transparency, the better.
Would that
Work
be
session's a
yearly?
great idea.
Would that be a yearly fee for like the dock slips of $20, or would that be a one-time fee just to get you on the list?
Well, you would set it. The county set $20 a year for their boat slips.
Okay.
You could set $5 or $10 or whatever,
Well, you need to make sure that the people are serious, and you don't just have a bunch of people jamming up a wait list that there's no reason at all. You know what I mean? You want to have it moving in the right direction. And that way the right people are on that wait list.
Well, I think also you'd have to set a time as far as, say, if someone was on there and their number came up, in order to promote efficiency at the board level, that they have to respond within a week or something like that,
Correct.
Whether they're going to instead, they move to the next person, it could take another week and the next person doesn't want that slip, and it goes on and on and on. And it's a month and a half of a backlog,
Yeah,
And-
no, we'd have to deal with that.
That's kind of the issue that I have with the waterfowl wait list. There's 100 people on it, and I give them each only 24 hours to respond, because I usually go through 40 or 50 people by the time I get rid of, on average, 10 spots a year. The majority of people at the top just keep passing and passing and passing, because they've invested so much time at this point that they want a spot that, suits their needs. So I think that there's a lot to explore here with that.
Okay.
I think
So
it's a good idea, Ann. It's another way to make a few dollars. And also keep it up. People, like Scott said, people are interested. What happens if the people are already on the wait list? Do they have to pay?
Yeah, I
get
would say
on-
if you're gonna convert over to a wait list, then you're gonna also then find out how many people on that wait list are serious people to be
Yeah.
on there, and how many are just, the name's just there for whatever reason.
Placeholder.
Yeah,
Right.
place
That's
it.
half the battle, honestly, is the people that are just holding the spots. That's half the
Yeah.
battle for me,
Well, for what reason? Why would they be holding the spot?
because it's free.
Yeah, no harm, no foul. That's what happens. And
Just in case they don't get a slip somewhere else or whatever. I don't know.
it's like people that make 3 reservations at 3 different restaurants and then they, cancel or not cancel, and
Oh.
meanwhile you're trying to get a reservation and you can't. You know what I mean? So this was
But
what
people
happens.
that come in are like, I'm just gonna get a shellfish license, because why not? I don't go shellfishing, but why not? Because it's free.
Some people nowadays, you make a reservation. Some restaurants want you to leave a deposit on your credit card, right? Just to make sure, hey, is this a real reservation, or are we just a placeholder for what everybody wants to do on Saturday night? So,
Okay,
I don't know, have IT come in and give us a nice
Yep.
presentation.
yeah, let's do that.
Yeah,
Sounds
Okay.
good.
We'll set that up then. Thank you.
Excellent.
Okay. Public hearings, let's go into that then. Public hearing for 65 Cliff Drive LLC in Noyak. We know where it is. Okay, I make a motion that we open the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
all right.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, anybody here for the application? Okay, we haven't received any indication from the applicant about a
Madeline Benjamin is on and she's raising her hand, I think.
oh, okay, very good. Okay, let's see what
Tiffany
the
Gavin.
status is. Well, let's hear from the applicant first. It's their application.
Hi, Madeline Van John here for 65 Cliff. I just wanted to provide a quick update. We received updated survey data on Friday.
Right.
So I was hoping we'd be able to get something in, but we didn't have quite enough time since we just got it in on Friday and there were some edits. But now we have the survey data. We're working on getting the plans updated as discussed. So as soon as we have that ready, we'll submit it to you and to the DC. Should be sometime in the next week.
That's
Great.
great. That's
Fantastic.
great.
Okay,
Sounds good.
okay, we'll be in touch.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any comments? Raise their hand. Have anything? Charles, anybody raising their hand?
Let's see, I know Tiffany's on.
Anybody else?
Nobody else.
You want to adjourn?
Yes, I make a motion that we adjourn.
Second,
Second.
Ed seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, great. Then we'll go into public portion. Anyone have anything to say in public portion? Anybody raising their hand?
I
Okay.
see no hands.
Excuse
No,
me?
No hands.
There,
let's go to,
Great.
let's go to permits.
Application,
stated they wanted to speak.
excuse me?
Someone wants to speak?
Ms. Bellafato wishes to speak, and I believe Mr. Bedora wishes to speak. They emailed the office before this meeting.
On what issue? Public portion?
Public portion.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Are they still online, Charles?
Yeah, I have a few.
Okay. Who's first and on what issue?
Oh, hi, this is Jessica Bellafato.
Hi.
I come in as, okay. So I own a paddleboard yoga and paddleboard business called JB Yoga and was hoping to figure out a way to launch from a Trustee beach or a Trustee location in Southampton town.
What area?
Oh,
You just want information on how to go about?
Yeah, I was told to
Facebook.
attend this meeting to do so, but I've been an established business for 28 years out here with yoga and paddleboarding. I also teach a small kids camp and paddleboard yoga. And I had been using in years past the Clam Island, that Clam Island Park access.
Mhm.
But am hoping to get some sort of permit in place.
Just to give the board a little background here, Ms. Bellafato was written a ticket by the Bay Constables for using a town facility. And they referred her to the trustees board, and I spoke with her about coming on the meeting today to see if the trustees are interested in issuing a license agreement to her business. It's a way to legalize this, it's a way to promote these local businesses, and they don't have another avenue to do this. So we do similar things with that raft company, I believe, and Welker.
global boarding.
What's her name?
Global Border.
And Peconic Water Sports as well.
So,
Correct.
so it-
Right,
so to maintain consistency, why don't we just do the same type of licensing agreement?
sounds good.
Where
that
would
give
the,
her- Would that
where
give her
would
the
the lo-
ability to use multiple facilities or specific facilities?
Well, that's the question for the board here is where specifically you'd like to, if you're willing to permit this activity, where? So
I would think it has to be pick out 3 or 4 spots to go to and use those spots because there's other camps and there's other people who are doing the same thing. So they're not crowded in the same area.
Right.
Like Cold Springs Pond would be a good area on
Yeah.
the north side, Billy.
Cold
Electrical-
Spring Pond, also off Barker's Island Road there, the end there, that dead end there.
Conscious Point
Conscious Point,
has
Yeah.
parking.
yeah.
These,
If you don't mind me, I'm looking for something a little closer to Sag Harbor. My business is more East Hampton, Sag Harbor located, so not
Okay.
super far into North Sea, Southampton,
Where were
but
you
more,
proposing?
more in the like towards Long Beach area, if at all possible.
Any proposals of where you want to go?
There's
Spot
very
where you
few,
are?
there's very few trustee owned properties in Sag Harbor. There's
Right.
more or less road ends and town, highway access points. Mill Creek would be like the only eastern, trustee facility at
Right.
Mill Creek, the launching ramp there, and that's very limited parking. So, if you could come up with a list of areas you would like to use, maybe we could like review it and give you a
Okay.
little bit of, opinion on whether it would work or not and who would be overseeing as far as jurisdiction.
Okay,
where-
Mill
where
Creek
were you
Marina,
operating?
you're
Where were you
talking about Mill
operating?
Creek Marina, which is the ramp at
Yes.
the marina. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I've launched from there before, but I thought it was Marina owned. So I was paying him to launch from that spot and
Wow.
which he no longer allows because of the limited parking.
Well, he doesn't allow it. It's trustee owned property.
Got
He
it.
was
You also
charging
have
you
trustee-
for our facility?
Circle
He
Beach.
was.
Well, Circle Beach on the end of Pine Neck
You
is
gotta
a
be kidding
perfect
me, right?
area because it has lots of parking. It has access to Mill Creek and Noyak Bay. And it would be a good area for you to run a business out of that area. And that's a trustee.
Circle Beach
property.
would be my preference. We love it there.
We wouldn't,
And it's nice with the kids, with the wind, because it gives us options.
yes, that would be the best area down in that location. So like I said, come up with a couple areas that,
Okay.
you think you want to use, and we'll give you a yes or no and a little bit of guidance. Okay?
Okay, amazing. Thank you. And who would I submit that or speak to Sean?
If it's okay with the board, we'll follow up and I'll have a resolution on for a license agreement with 3 locations for the next meeting. Does that
That's
sound good?
fine.
Yeah, we could all review
Yeah.
it prior to the
Yeah,
meeting and go over it.
Yeah. To work, first have it on the work session.
Okay,
At what point should she fill out the application? For the
I think
license?
she can start the whole process.
So start the process and we could accept it or deny it.
Yeah, right.
And then we'll
That'll be-
choose,
that'll be-
the best,
yeah.
then we'll give her some locations to work out
You
of.
be able to give me your email, Jessica?
Yeah, it's jessica@jbyoga.com.
All right, jessica@jbyoga.com. I'll send you the application and instructions.
Okay, amazing. Thank you.
No problem.
Okay, great.
Bye, thank you.
Nice
Go along.
day.
thanks, Jessica.
Thank you, Anne.
Anyone else that we have in line? For public portion?
Can you hear me?
You got this.
I see no hands.
There's one
Oh,
more
okay.
person wants to speak.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes,
Someone,
Hello, can you hear me?
Mr.
Yes,
Bedora?
yes.
Yes, I'm sorry. For some reason, I can't make my camera work.
okay, no problem.
I've been here. I apologize for that.
No problem.
Should I go straight to the subject?
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, we live in an area.
Should state his name first.
My name is Jörg Badura. I live on Cedar Crest, which is in North Sea. We live in an area where 4 neighbors are sharing one bridge to go over Davis Creek to go to the beach, which is deeded beach access all the way down to Davis Creek and then across. Our neighbor down at the beach, down at the creek, has on September 11th for the second time closed down the bridge, and basically confronted us as doing illegal trespassing, all these kind of things. We had done 3 years ago when the first incident happened, a deep investigation. We've been to north in Riverhead, went to town. We tried to figure out what the legal situations are, found out that the bridge is within the waters of the trustees, and he doesn't have the right, but he enforced, or he pushed on 9/11 again, and ended up calling the police to stop us from going over the bridge, which then the police actually explained to him twice, because he wouldn't want to hear it, that he is not able to close the bridge. It's become sort of a situation because he's sort of pushed himself against my wife in a certain way. 3 years ago, we've had this not happening for the first time. We're getting kind of worried about it. I'm a little bit concerned when it comes to the situation itself. We're not very happy about the situation. My wife is a little freaked out going down to the bridge. She doesn't want to be confronted with him again. And we're trying to figure out, I've talked to Mr. Cambridge earlier this week, last week, and we basically, he confirmed that the bridge is in the waters of the trustees of town of Southampton, and we're just trying to figure out if there's any permit. I filed a FOIL. Again, we've done a FOIL in 2018, in July 2018, which didn't bring anything to light when it comes to permits, agreements that the trustee's office or the town of Southampton made with this neighbor who claims ownership of the bridge. And we are at this point I filed another FOIL last week in order to get this after the new digitization that happened in the town of Southampton. Perhaps something else shows up, but we are, I don't want to have this happen for the third time, and we're trying to sort of rein in this neighbor a little bit. The police had a hard time reining him in at the time. He wouldn't want to have it.
How do you get access to the bridge?
Bridge.
Is there an easement off of someone's property, or is it private property that you?
Yeah, it's 4 lots that had been subdivided, and in the subdivision, we got inside of our deeds a very clear description on where to access all the way down to the water.
Okay.
And great, that's
Good.
helpful. You can actually see the property as in 45. I know if you go a little note, that's actually over one bridge to the right. Yep, a little bit more. Yep, that is the bridge where the cursor is to the left to the left of the cursor. Yep, exactly.
Okay.
That is the bridge
Okay.
that we're talking about.
James, can you pull that permit up, please?
And you have deeded rights to go across, or an easement to go across the property? I'm a little confused here because it's coming off of a private property.
Yeah, we have. What happens is the map that you just showed, the aerial that you showed, is a little bit off. It looks like in that aerial shot that the bridge starts on number 39 Cedar Crest Road, but in fact it starts as in what the surveys are that we have on the property number 45 Cedar Crest.
James, can you put it back up, please?
Yeah, you got it.
That was me,
It was
actually.
Sean.
So you have a deeded easement from like a subdivision process, which would allow you to cross on someone's property because it's an easement to the bridge, which is on trustee property, across the meadow, which is trustee property, to private property on the other side of the bridge on the north. Now, who owns that property on the north side of that bridge? Is it the same adjoining property owner that you have to come off of where you're having the problem with?
Well, apparently it's starting, and I have the tax map numbers. it would be, let me pull this up in the proper way. The tax map number, and actually I don't know if I see this parcel. Yes, you have this. Yes, this is Denise Johnson. That is actually the walkway goes across her property, but it doesn't land on that property. It lands on the lot to the left of that, which would be the 18 exactly. That's 18. That's William Scott Baldwin. That is where it lands, and it starts on 45, which is lot number 11. That one, which is owned by the Baldwin family as well. And we have a deeded deeded access that goes along the property line on the western side of 39. There's a 15-foot right of way going all the way down to the water. Then how it's always been for years, we take the bridge over, and then on the other side, we have another 15-foot corridor all the way to the waters of Little Peconic Bay. That's all described in the deed. We've never had any issues. We live here since over 20 years. But for some reason, I mean, we've always had a little bit, there's always been this little talk about like, we own the bridge, and we're like, okay, whatever, you own the bridge. But then 3 years ago, he shut it down, and he claimed that there was some repair that had to be done. And in the end, no repair had been done since then. And now he is actually, what I've just learned, he's applied for a permit to do some repair, which we all as 4 neighbors, and that is the lot in the front, the 13, 11, 12, 12-2 and 12-1. I am in 12-1, which is on the road to Cedar Crest. And all 4 of us have agreed to actually go in and help repair the bridge. But he basically closed it down 9/11 in the most beautiful time of the year for us to actually be able to go over there without any warning.
But do you know who actually built the bridge, in whose name the bridge is in? Is it in the 4 property owners, like in an association?
It
Or
would
is it in
probably
a
be in the
specific-
original subdivision, whoever
Yeah.
owned that. Do
That
you
would
know
be
the name of the person who owned the property before it was subdivided?
We know of a subdivision under the name of Janice Morrissey.
Okay.
That was done in, let me see if I can pull that up fast. I have a deed going all the way back to 1934.
Oh, yeah, a lot
that
of this bridges
that
were
is
built.
that is describing all the way to the waters of Little Peconic Bay. On the last foil, I received a bunch of aerial images all the way back to, I think, prior to the 60s. I think there's something that potentially was from the 30s as well.
They go to 34, I believe, is the oldest one we have. Those bridges have been there since the 60s.
Yes.
That I can verify.
Yeah, this neighbor has told every other neighbor. He has not told me personally, but every other neighbor that they rebuilt the bridge in the 90s, which we don't really know anything about. Nobody has actually shared information in regards to this. He has never, even though last time 3 years ago, we had this real intense confrontation there when he went up to my wife, and we kind of then wanted to figure out the legal issue with this on if he really has the power to do so. And we've been told that because it is within the high water marks, it's really the trustee's office that actually owns any right to do anything with this bridge, from what we understand.
Well, you'd need a permit from the trustees to do work on it, but the ownership of the bridge is in the name of the person whose property it starts at.
It starts, yeah.
Responsible for the upkeep of the bridge. They'd have to come in for a permit for any revisions or repairs to it. But, you know, as far as us getting involved in, and correct me if I'm wrong, Sean,
Civil
but
suit.
us getting involved in enforcement actions to make sure that you have access, that's more of a civil matter.
Correct.
Because it's written into the covenants and restrictions of the subdivision. I mean, I don't want to, you know, I sympathize with you, but we can't have government getting involved in private matters. Am I wrong? You know, you want to chime in, Sean?
Well, there's the pass and repass rights on the shore itself. So if you were walking along the shoreline, all the trustee permitted projects have this pass and repass right.
Right.
Otherwise, you know, Mr. Bedora and I did speak about him contacting an attorney and getting some legal advice. But if the trustees are inclined to take a position, Mr. Bedora is in front of you. If you're not, you're not. But I think that is what he was looking for today, to see if
I know, but that's your call about whether we should the trust.
Well, let me ask you this question, Sean. If there was no bridge there, that easement would end at, you know, basically Davis Creek. Since that gentleman has provided a bridge that he owns, the easement continues. Does the easement continue with that bridge for the access to the other easement, which they're allowed to use on the other side? Because without that bridge, the easement on the north side of the lagoon would be kind of not useful,
right,
unless you had a way to cross, correct?
over the bridge this way and this way.
Yes.
Mr. Bedora has a deeded easement, it sounds like, to go over. So it is.
Does he have a deeded easement to the water, or does he have a deeded easement to the water to cross over the bridge that someone else put there to the other easement that he has the ability to access because of the bridge?
Well, right. So obviously, I can't give Mr. Bedora advice.
Can I give you what I have, and perhaps you get a better picture? We have deeded access to the waters of Davis Creek, and then we have deeded access across to the waters of Little Peconic Bay. From what I understand, researching this in Riverhead at Suffolk County, with the deed office and all that, because of the technicality of this bridge being in the waters of the trustees, the ownership is as in structures that are in the waters of the town or of the trustees, cannot be, and the liability cannot be with the person that actually has the bridge. So from what I'm understanding, the town would have to give us actually an easement to go across the waters, and they won't do that. So the actual across the bridge easement is not included, because I think, from what I'm understanding, this is government property, so to speak. That's my understanding of it.
It's trust property that we keep in trust for everybody in the town. You, the other three easement holders, the person that built the bridge. So that underwater land that has the bridge constructed on it is our property. So
but they own the bridge, and it's been
they
told
own the bridge.
Just can't go down there. Say we didn't.
We gave him permission to build a bridge.
We can't remove it.
But we gave
Sean, did you review it?
Listen,
I did review it. There is a permit application pending. That's why I suggested Mr. Bedora speak with the board. It's certainly something you can make a permit condition if the board's inclined. I don't know if the board wants to take a position on this or not, but I could not advise Mr. Bedora.
What is your position on it? You're the attorney, our attorney.
I think if you're inclined to take a position, you should write it in as a permit condition when this is reconstructed.
Was this a condition of this subdivision that they had this? You have it in your deed, you say? Mr. Badera, you say it's in your deed with your property that you have the right easement to go from point A to point B and then from B to C?
Yes. It's
So if he's
described,
got that in his deed, why would we not take a position and say that if we're going to grant this permission to go across trust property, you also have to honor what's in the deeds of these people that are part of that original subdivision?
It's very similar to Honeypot Pond and Bayberry Cove Bridge.
Brennan,
Mr. Newmark owns the bridge, but there's 4 other property owners that have the right to go back and forth. So, and that's an agreement amongst themselves. So do we want to put a special condition that there's 4 families other than the person who builds the bridge to access Little Peconic?
How could we not? How could we not acknowledge
That's the
that?
question.
Well, think about our earlier discussions relative to covenants and restrictions that are
Bingo.
placed on other boards, right?
Encumbrance.
So, right, so here you go. So in order to maintain consistency, why would we not say, listen, we'll permit it, but you have to honor what's in these people's deeds? Wrong, right?
yeah, no, I think Scott's correct.
It's either that or we can hold up the application and not permit them to reconstruct this bridge so it's safe to go across.
Or
At that
revoke
point,
the
the bridge
permit
would
because
come
you're not
down and
honoring
they'll be-
what's in the people's deeds from the
Well-
initial subdivision.
My question is, does this person who's preventing everybody else from using the bridge, do they use the bridge themselves? Do you know?
well, I don't live on the water, so I don't know when he's going over back and forth, but he's been on the bridge with me a couple days prior to, he met me on the bridge. We were standing on the bridge. The bridge is completely stable. There might be 1 or 2 or 4 posts that might actually be would be good to be replaced, but the bridge is not falling apart or is in a condition where you can't pass over it. I've gone over the bridge since 9/11 20 times or more, and it's never been an issue. Now he's got some tape on it and he's kind of blocking people from or scaring people from not going over it. He has a huge liability issue with it. I had actually written a text message with him to him in order to release him from any liability if anything were to be happening. And he still enforced, sort of stood at the bridge with his camera up and yelling at us, as in we're doing something illegal, we're trespassing. And then he called the police. And it was, I mean, I had a couple of friends come over. It was my birthday. I've had a little get together on the beach, and people literally got stopped from going over the bridge. They had to drive all the way around to Tal Point and walk all the way to our area on the beach just to meet up with us. It was a matter of I mean, it was a level of harassment that we've never seen. I mean, he's yelled at everybody who went over there continuously, and it just became out of hand. The police came in the end. He was hoping that they would probably stop us from going over the bridge, but then it turned out the other way. And the police officer basically said, look, the bridge is in the waters of the trustees. It's within the high water marks. You cannot stop these people to go over there. And
look, you got something going on here, obviously, which is what our president was alluding to. However, the primary existence of the trustees is for the enforcement and for the maintaining of easements that are in the best interest of the public, especially the colonial era patent ones. So if easements are that important and you have these in your deeds, and that is property that we own, then I think that the board has to take a hard look at, especially since there's an application that's rolling in for us for consideration. This is important. And I
Sean,
think
have you looked at these, their deeds and see how it's worded?
I would suggest Mr. Bedora write a written submission with a copy of his deed to the board in respect to this application. I think
Yes, I really,
Further
we need to do,
information.
we need to do some research.
yes,
Yes.
we do.
James,
And the original, and pull the file, the original subdivision, and see what that has to say.
hey, James,
Yeah.
is this one of the permits we looked at the other day down there? Oh, you have not got the permit yet, application.
I don't think we looked at it yet.
Is it in the office yet?
I believe so.
Okay. Because we do have another application for another bridge down there, going over there.
Yes, that's my neighbor who basically
Yeah, that's the one, Bill.
just bought, they bought the property in the beginning of the year or end of last year, and they're trying to build their own bridge, which is part of the reason because of this neighbor next door, but also probably for property value and that kind of thing. But then again, they also want to have their own access.
Yeah, and peace of quiet.
Yeah. Yeah, we have these problems all the time with these easements and flag lots. Everything works out fine for a
It's
few
getting
years.
worse.
Somebody new moves in and has a different set of values and everything.
You know, we've been here for 20 years. We've never had an issue with it. And
Yep. Usually what
we now, for 3 years ago, it became a major issue because my wife got really scared. She wouldn't go down there for quite some time. And then he started it a couple of weeks ago again. And it's a random situation. Now he's claiming the bridge needs repair and therefore he closes it down, but the bridge is not unstable. We all know the bridge needs some help. We're getting estimates in. There's a process. You have a permit. We all agree upon it as neighbors, but he just decides to close it down, and we don't want this to be happening again. So if there's anything that can be done from your side, I will definitely put a written submission in. I will attach the deeds that I have, and I appreciate your help with it.
If you want,
we can make a determination.
yeah. If after this, give the office a call back with your phone number and name, and I'll give you a call tomorrow because it's my area, and we'll help look into it.
Okay, I only see a number 414, so I don't know what your name is. Who do I call?
Bill Pell.
Bill?
Yes. Give the trustee's office your number and I'll give you a call.
And your last name, sorry, I didn't hear that.
Pell, P-E-L-L.
P-A-L-L. Okay, I will call the trustee's office. I appreciate your help.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Take
Thanks.
care, Mr. Bedora.
Thank you. You too.
Anyone else, Charles? Okay.
I do see
Hi.
Tiffany.
What?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see where I raised my hand. I'm sorry. I just had a thought. Could I jump back in with a question?
Yes, it's still a public portion.
Okay, I appreciate it. What is going to be done in 2 weeks if they don't come back with this plan? Do you have anything that you would institute, maybe just taking control of this situation and saying, we've given you ample time now and force them to use First Coastal's plan? Or what's our recourse if they don't come back in 2 weeks with something? It's been going on a very long time.
I know it's been going on a long time. I can't hazard to, project that far, but they've been transparent with us, and I'm sure that they're going to present a plan. They know that
Okay.
we're in.
Right, and even if we did take an action, it's just gonna push the issue to a different jurisdiction.
Place. Yeah, we
So
don't,
it's all it's gonna do. It's not gonna solve anything. So
Okay.
you're just gonna move it to a different area, your problem. So let them,
Yeah, well,
Let
Ms.
him- let him-
John has been transparent this morning with us, so
yes,
you know,
I let's not put the cart before the horse here.
I think we're on the right track. I'm
Okay,
confident.
good. Okay, I appreciate it. You guys are doing a great job and
Thanks.
arduous, very difficult, and we really do appreciate your commitment to helping the environment and the residents. Thank you.
Get it done.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Steve,
We go into permits or resolutions or what do
Is there
you?
anybody else? I thought he just said.
Steve is
anybody else.
on.
Steve, you're muted.
You want to speak on a specific resolution or public portion?
You're muted. We can't hear you.
You gotta unmute Steve. Maybe he's not talking to us.
I'm
There he
talking.
goes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now we can.
I'm sorry. I don't know whether this is the appropriate time for me to jump in. Excuse me for that. But I wanted to find out what the status is of the Carp award for removal of the carp. in as much as this last week, we have had the bids received for carp removal. Can you tell me what the status is and what the procedure is going
There's
forward?
there's a resolution on for this meeting, resolution 2030 to award and authorize me to sign the contract for carp removal.
Okay,
Okay,
thank
that'll
you.
be coming up in about
On the agenda.
5-10 minutes.
Okay, so I'll hang tight.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. So let's go into applications for permits. First up is Scott with 2020.
I got resolution 2021-220. It's the third renewal app, but this is the modification that we worked on at the last session for Mr. Gregory S. Little at 8 Johns Terrace. And at that point in time, it met all of our conditions. I request that we issue the permit at this point in time.
Okay, we have a second.
Second.
Bill seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Ed's next.
Let's see if I can-
You have yours up? It's 20.
No, I don't.
It's
2021
2021-221.
That's
I got my other phone
Aaron.
running here.
You want me to read it for you, buddy?
I got it right here now. I got
man.
2 phones running here.
I know it keeps on going.
2021, 221, application for Fran Farid, 15 Windermere Close, Hampton Bay, Suffolk County Tax Map number 900-322-4-1.8, body of water Wells Creek. We went over this at work session. I recommend its approval.
Second.
Bill seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Trustee Resolution 2021-22, category waterfowl hunting permit. It's adding a co-permit into permit number 275, John A. Heaney III, addition of co-permit, John A. Heaney IV, to pass it down to the family.
Question on the motion. Is this the waterfall location where the there was question about the location of the blind?
Yes, in that area. Yes, we talked about this at work session.
Has that been determined if it's in the proper location?
It's in the proper location.
Mhm.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Ed seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Ann's next.
Trustee Resolution 2021-223, application of 25 Bluff Point Road LLC, 25 Bluff Point Road, Village of Sag Harbor, Suffolk County Tax Map 903-4-1-26, body of water, Upper Sag Harbor Cove, Morris Cove. This is, was discussed at work session. It's for a docking facility consisting of an elevated catwalk, a hinged ramp, and a floating dock. I'd like to recommend its approval.
Second.
Ed seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Trustee Resolution 2021-224. Eric, this is actually yours.
Hold on a minute. I just had a text.
My mistake. I didn't change the sponsors in the minute track.
So it should be me,
Okay.
Jess?
I'm sorry. That's my mistake.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah.
No, that's fine. I can do it. This is a waterfowl hunting location permit, waterfowl permit number 125, James F. Wilson, addition of co-permittee, William Fulham. This has been vetted by the Bay Constables. It's been reviewed, and I would like to recommend its approval. This individual has been removed from the wait list with this addition as a co-permittee.
Second.
Okay. Scott
I'd like to
second.
recommend its approval.
Okay. Scott seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, I've got trustee resolution 2021-176. This is going back to the tax line legislation and the home rule message. Still think we're doing due diligence on this at this point in time. Hopefully we'll get this off the ground
Okay.
someday.
Still
But for
waiting,
now, I think it's got to be tabled.
Senator Palumbo and to get
Yeah,
organized with
just
governor and everything like that, right?
let's
See where they
table
stand.
this.
Okay, second on that?
Second.
And seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I'm on here for this modification of Suffolk County dredging permit at Far Pond. So we all know what that's about moving the channel over, requesting that the county make modifications to the channel location. So I make a motion that we approve this.
I'll second that
Second.
one.
Ed seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And
Trustee Resolution 2021-226. This is to authorize the contribution to the Sag Harbor Water Quality Initiative for 2021. I'm just going to quickly read through this. Whereas Southampton Town trustees are owners of underwater lands in the Southampton Town portion of the village of Sag Harbor, and whereas the health of these waters, including the products of these waters and other aquatic flora and fauna, is of the utmost importance to the trustees, residents, and baymen, and whereas it is in the best interest of the residents of the town of Southampton to determine the presence of contaminants in the waters of Sag Harbor that could harm the health of both residents and marine life. And whereas Village of Sag Harbor has agreed to participate in water quality monitoring programs proposed by Dr. Gobler of Stony Brook University to the Sag Harbor Harbor Committee. Whereas the East Hampton Town Trustees, the Southampton Town Board, the Southampton Town Trustees have agreed to contribute funds for this water quality project. And whereas Southampton Town Trustees have historically pledged $2,000 per year towards this program, whereas for the sole purpose of adhering to the SUNY Research Foundation's funding requirements, the East Hampton Town Trustees have agreed to pool these funds of the various entities that are contributing funds in escrow and to pay Dr. Gobler with a check. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Southampton Town Trustees authorize payment in the amount of $2,000 to the East Hampton Town Trustees. There was a question just before this goes up to vote. There was a question that came forward that the Harbor Committee had said that this, when they asked for a contribution to this in last year, that this would be the last time that they would be doing water testing. I reached out to the Harbor Committee to confirm that, and that was not their recollection, but they weren't sure, but she said it was unlikely. And the important point that she wanted to make was there are a couple new sites that are being considered that have not previously been considered. And that would be why they're coming back to do additional sampling. And those sites would be Long Pond, Little Long Pond, and Lily Pond, which are also, which are all part of Long Pond Greenbelt, in addition to two sites within Sag Harbor Cove, close to the Beacon Restaurant and Barron's Cove. All of those would be within Southampton Town waters.
And could you read the resolution again for me, please? I misunderstood something you said in it.
For real? Read it?
Yeah.
Which part of it, Bill?
Which part?
The part where you said about giving funds.
Oh, where we had agreed to pay last year?
Whereas, okay, let me see if I think I've got it. Whereas Village of Sag Harbor has agreed to participate in the water quality monitoring program proposed by Dr. Gobler of Stony Brook University to the Sag Harbor Harbor Committee. Whereas East Hampton Town Trustees, Southampton Town Board, Southampton Town Trustees have agreed to contribute funds for this project. Whereas Southampton Town Trustees have historically pledged $2,000 towards the program. And whereas for the
that should be taken out, because we gave different amounts. We never pledged that we're going to do it year after year after year. Unless that's taken out, I'm not going.
You know, are we doing this the right way? Where's Sean Cambridge? Sean, where are you? I got a question on this. Are we doing this the right way? Where is he?
Hello.
Is this activity, here's my question. Is this activity allowable under the law from the Community Preservation Fund?
We are, this
It
isn't,
is?
this,
So
Go
it
ahead,
should be
Sean,
underneath
sorry.
it. So
No,
they
but-
should be.
No, the thing is this, I'm looking at this and I'm like, East Hampton, these community preservation funds have accumulated massive amounts of money lately. Why are we not? No, they haven't. We can't use this.
keep going, keep going.
No, I just don't understand why, if there's, gigantic amounts of money in those funds for the purposes of water quality initiatives, and this is part of a water quality initiatives, why aren't we just paying it out of that? Okay, you got, East Hampton, Southampton, all of this. Why is it not just coming all out of that? If that's what it's designed for, and if that's what's allowable under the law, why are we having to pull, nickels and dimes out of every little coffer when there's all kinds of money there for water testing and water quality? Why have they not been able to
Because
to tap that?
Because I believe that probably if you use the CPF funds, that you have to have requests for proposals, and this is a way of funneling the money to another organization that can just hire whoever they want. That's what it's.
Sean, do you have anything to say? I mean,
I'm not sure. I believe the CPF fund did contribute to this project, and the trustees in the past had voluntarily pledged additional money. This resolution language was what was on last year's agenda with updated dates. I understand what Trustee Pell is saying about you could move and amend and strike that whereas, and this would still be equally effective. But it is legal. It's a joint project between municipalities and the trust. So you certainly can do it if the board's inclined. It's your decision whether you should be doing it.
So to clarify,
I think I like what Scott said, that, it should be going out to a proposal and the right person who gives the right price to do it. And then we can take our money and buy clams. Right, Scott?
no, I just don't know. Why is it that at times where we have water quality initiatives that we don't use the proper accounts for the proper projects, and then we end up, I'm all for water quality, and I want to see, testing, and I want to see solutions for water quality. But I'm looking at the trustees, and James is telling me we got a truck that they're not going to pass inspection after, I think, October. We've got to get the electric service put in to preserve, the South Bay Avenue pier in Marina that we just spent a lot of money on to fix that. The marine maintenance office roof is shot, and we've got a proposal from the county contractor for roofing for that to be done. On the subject of water quality, we have Carter Creek in East Quogue that's choking off and very badly. We've been trying to get the permits on Carter Creek for some time. We finally, I believe, have those coming. If I just add up my fingers here, I'm at like $100,000 of things that have got to be done. And, I'm looking at this and I'm going, well, how much money's in that, the water quality percentage, 20%. Why can't they just package that up and say, this is an important water quality project? Look, it should be paid for out of this, and then free this up to take care of the leaking roof at the marine maintenance office and the rusted out truck that I'm here in Central Garage is not going to allow pass inspection, which puts us in a situation where we've got to replace the truck immediately. So that's all. I like to try and figure out how to pay the right expenses out of the right funds to get the best, use out of it for the taxpayer and everybody else. That's all. I'm just questioning.
So Scott, to maintain consistency, if we're talking about Mill Pond, then we have to go through all these requests for proposals because we're going to be using water quality money. The town theoretically could not contribute to this fund to just have any person, regardless of their qualifications, do the job unless they did a request for proposal. So that's,
So let's
that this
be
is the
clear.
reason why this is all going about. Now, I'm just
I-
worried
you know,
all these
this-
studies all the time.
I'm very,
So
Get done.
to be clear here. So the Mill Pond proposal is going through the CPF portion of water quality funding. That's a completely separate situation. And we are going through the RFP process
Right?
in that.
This is a request for
This
donation.
I'm sorry, Sean?
This is essentially a request for a donation from this board to contribute to that project that the town has funded and these other agencies have funded through the RFP process.
what, okay.
And
That the
The re-
town could do that legally because they didn't go for, how can the town just donate to? Why
This
didn't the
pro-
town just donate to some other organization to do Mill Pond? I mean, we got to be a little consistent here,
so,
you know?
I
so
think this program started prior to the CPF 20 money being allotted. That's why we are here. This is something that happened before. And I believe last year there was a sunset clause that was supposed to end last year. And they came back to do some further testings to get some better analysis. The DEC does water sampling throughout the whole town, and they close it on fecal coliform counts. But what the college is doing, they're taking it a step further and they're quantifying what type of pollution it is, whether it's human, dog, waterfowl, seal, or whatever. So we're getting a much better analysis of what is causing the pollution and the degraded water quality in the growing area in Sag Harbor Cove.
and
So
this
Ed,
is
in other words, since they knew it was going to run out last year, that's where I got it from, okay? That they should have put a proposal together for the next 10 years to do this beautiful, I'm for the water testing quality, but I think it's coming out of the wrong fund, like just what's saying. And
I'm not disagreeing with anybody stating
Yeah.
that, because if it had a sunset date of last year, they should have come up with a new proposal and presented it moving forward to each one of the trustee boards and the town, at large, and maybe they could have qualified for CPF 20 funding. I don't know if they asked for it or they didn't want to go through the review process, or they just wanted to just continue with Chris Goldberg and the college doing their water sampling as status quo. I don't know
Wait,
how, I'm not in that.
yeah, they could have put a proposal, but remember when we first got on the board, me and you, Ed, I got in on a year after you, and they had to pay back a donation they made.
Yes.
We can't make donations. Eric just maybe thought of that.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we're technically not supposed to donate town taxpayers' money. So, but that's a legal question for our attorney. But
So, Sean-
I'm all for monitoring any shellfish
too.
growing area
Yeah,
and
I am
coming
too.
up with an answer on what kind of pollution it is. Because for many, many years, they've closed areas, and it was fecal coliform, and we didn't know where it was coming from. So now that they've taken it a step further, they're coming to us for an additional $2,000 for this year, which is outside of the original contract. I remember them saying last year it was done and they weren't going to do it anymore, but they've also broadened their research on this area.
Is there any money coming out of the CPF for these folks?
no.
I don't know
And
that.
that's
Why is that?
because you can't apply for solely water quality testing under the CPF rules.
You need to
You
have
have to
other
have-
components.
you-
Shellfish growing, like Chris Goldberg's doing in Sag Pond. That's why they put oysters in there. Monitoring, and there's a whole bunch of there's a whole bunch of components that have to be listed in order to qualify for CPF funding, CPF 20 funding. We were just doing the water quality analysis around the sewer plant, and then we went in further in towards the harbor and into the town waters. And I'm all for water quality monitoring. And if,
but
of
what
course,
about-
if there's a better way to get money and it doesn't cost us anything, and there's millions of dollars in the CPF 20 funding, maybe we should sit down with the Sag Harbor water quality people and help them write an application for their project down
Well, then there's the other fund, right? The Water Quality Protection Fund that the town
Right.
has. right?
Right.
Did they
Right.
contribute something?
I don't-
All I'm
we don't-
saying is it's like, I think we need to figure out how to do this better and have a better plan on what's going on. We've got the Mill
Well,
Pond thing.
I
to
think it's a
vote on.
better, it's not a better plan. It's a better funding source.
Correct.
I
Well,
mean, of course, I'd rather buy $2,000 worth of scallops and put them in the bay and help that fishery recover and have the money come from CPF 20 that goes to the water quality monitor.
Okay,
That
but
makes all the sense.
What's the end all? What's the solution? Are we gonna do something about it
Well-
instead of a study?
That's
don't-
always been, that's
I mean,
been my biggest question. We studied the brown tide since 1985. It's kind of gone away on its own. So I mean, we know what to do. We know it has to be done. It's a sacrifice by us with less green grass, more open space, more drainage, more septic, and updating everything. It's the cost component that's holding everything back on that end of it. But I mean, are we going to donate $2,000, or are we going to say, no, we don't want to donate it this year, find it somewhere else? That seems to be the question.
it puts us in a bad position because we don't have the endless budget. Of course, we want to work with the community and find solutions and do testing and whatnot, but we also need to make sure that we're being fiscally prudent with our funds. We have limited funds and a lot of challenges and a lot of assets that need to be maintained and rebuilt and so forth. We're going to be voting on resolutions very quickly to deal with those issues that I just gave you folks a few minutes ago.
I mean, there is a
So-
large area in Sag Harbor Cove that used to be a conditional area. If they were monitoring that and possibly could get that open on a seasonal basis, which would be a huge win for the residents and the commercial fishermen, then I would say we've accomplished something. But we're monitoring shellfish growing areas that the DEC already monitors and has, criteria whether open and close it. I think Suffolk County does some monitoring, but Chris is taking it a step further in figuring out where the pollution is potentially coming from. But these are certified areas, so they're already open to shellfish harvesting. We haven't gained anything from this program.
So
I think you ought to table this until you get some better information.
can they shift? Ann, do you think they can shift this? Eddie, you named some place where you think that they should shift this monitoring to, right? Or is that out of the scope of where these folks want to operate out of?
That's a conversation we're going to have to figure out. I mean,
To the town controller, they got that fund there that they collect from the what do you call it? The violations.
Violations, yep.
That was the Water Quality Protection Fund. We tried to advise Mr.
Who helped
Abramson
that
sitting
out,
there to
yes.
use
Well,
that.
I mean, if that was the case, then the town and the trustees could take their share out of that, which we've gotten from violations, and give it to the Sag Harbor people. I think that would be the best way to work around it.
I mean, I'd love to work with these folks and find some way that this all makes sense, but what do you?
And
Oh,
figure
yeah.
out how long this is going to go on for. If it's going to go on for 10 years, then we have to find a better funding source year after year after year. We're going year by year by year. It was pretty much done last year, and they decided to continue it on the hope that everybody's going to contribute a little bit more.
We had a
It's just a question.
long court case, very long court case where our records were viewed extensively on donations and things like that. No matter how laudable they were, we have to follow certain procedures too, as far as our I know Chris Goebel is qualified, but even getting the roof fixed in Jackson Avenue, you have to have proposals. You have to have what do you call this? It's escaping me now. The union scale.
Yeah,
Prevailing
prevailing
wages.
Prevailing wage. That's why we had to use a contractor that has the contract that's totally in compliance with the town's procurement policy to go down there and look at it and say, okay, you got to pay prevailing wage times equals. Here's your number. If you use this contractor, you're totally in compliance with procurement procedure. Survey says it's a $16,000 some odd bill to deal with what's got to be done over there. That's just one thing. Same thing with the
Well,
truck.
I think the board is raising a question of, should we be paying this $2,000 if out of our funding or some other funding, source? I think it's a question we could ask, Len Marchese, and do some research and then revisit this at the next meeting.
Yeah, I think
it's
you
not-
have to have a formal statement by the town about where we are with this, because it can be brought up. I mean, we were being questioned on
flowers,
cat-
funeral flowers.
cats.
I didn't want to say that, Ed.
For someone I know, it was dear to me. I had to
Yeah.
give money, so we didn't go there.
Yep.
I didn't want to go there.
So,
It's a
Gonna have
Len
to
Marchese question.
Yeah,
Well-
because, and it's weird it's just, I'm looking at this because it did go through, the procurement of the town, but go ahead, Ann, I'm sorry.
what I was going to ask was, there is certainly the path forward to look and see where alternative funding sources are. But the other question would be, is there a plan for this testing? So to have the Harbor Committee give a little bit more of a flesh out of their direction forward, that would be an alternative path.
We
If-
do have
because
where it ends and what is the action plan of when they find something? What
Okay.
is the conclusion of it? I mean, I just see hundreds of studies sitting on the shelf. And the most egregious of it is that last one that the governor was proposing with the big dig going across to open up Shinnecock Bay.
Western Shinnecock,
with a pipe.
no
Yeah, but-
permits, no funding, and probably highly controversial based on my experience dealing with leacox.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so let me contact the Harbor Committee and see what their plan is.
And see if they're
And
looking for CPS money too, proposal.
But I think, Ann, the
Or
key question
water quality
is
protection fund money.
what their plan is and how far are they going to go in the future with this? Is this something that they're going to do for the next 20 years? Or is this something that they going to do for 5 years? Because I mean, face it, $2,000 is going to kill us this year. Of course, it would be best if we had it in our coffers to do some of our projects. But if you take 20 years and you 2,000, that's a lot of money. You start to add it up over year after year after year, and maybe there is a better funding source for them.
Well,
Okay. The question is last time around, the discussion was they were going to find out what the source of the pollution was, whether it was the sewer plant or whether it was from the uplands. Okay. So now that has been done and they found out that it wasn't the sewer plant. So what is the plan to straighten out the pollution that's going into the water body? What's
Drainage.
now that we've seen where the pollution is coming from, has anything been done? Has any legislation been changed? Have we seen any action on that?
those are East Hampton Town, the Sag Harbor Village portion of East Hampton Town and New York State waters. So I didn't focus on the remediation that has occurred or will be occurring in that I was looking more at the area under the bridge and the proposed new areas within the Long Pond Greenbelt, which are endangered coastal plain ponds.
I know, but you have to see, if these studies are yielding any tangible results. Are they taking any
Okay.
action? What we're
So-
doing,
So I will speak with Sag Harbor Committee and perhaps have them come back in and we can table this resolution for now.
Yeah, and then we'll see how we could all work together to get a handle on this over a more sustainable, funding
Right.
source. And
Well, I do, the representative from the Sag Harbor Committee did come in and do a fairly extensive presentation. I'm surprised that none of these questions came up at that point. So, but I will reach out to her.
I think I recall that we had that meeting down in the lower level conference,
Yes.
the lower level conference room.
Marina.
You know, in the COVID times, we're all jammed into this small room. It was, you know,
Okay.
You're doing the best you can there. And then a lot of times you think about these things and review your notes, and then,
Okay.
and you know what else? We weren't planning on having to deal with a roof in a truck at this point in time, quite frankly. I mean, we knew what we were up against over at, you know, in Eastport with having to deal with electric to preserve what we had going on down there. You know, Carter Creek getting choked off and us finally getting the permit is popping up on us. But I mean, James, you know, what was it last week? James, you had a conversation with me to tell me about the news about Central Garage and the F-250. Is that right?
Yes,
Late last week. So you know, and I think you said that you believe the inspection's like October.
I believe so, yes.
Right. So all of a sudden, boom, here you got this.
Okay.
And then the guys are like, hey, you know, the roof shot. And then I'm down there meeting with the county contractor. So all of these things are just in flux, and you're trying to deal with it and trying to balance the budget and take care of very important, you know, issues at the same time.
Okay.
Real life.
I'll relay
Time.
the concerns. And schedule something going forward. So if we could please table this now, Jess, that'd be
Got
great.
it.
Okay, well, just let me add one thing. I mean, being on the board for a length of time, you remember the trials and tribulations you went through on some of these huge law cases, which we eventually won, you know, but we have to stay consistent. No matter how laudable the plan is, we have to follow certain procedures that are state mandated.
100%.
Us donate because it's a great cause can hang this board up at maybe 5-10 years from now, and you lose a larger case of vital importance to the town because of a technicality that you didn't do. I mean, the
Perhaps.
nickels and dimes were talked about basically in this one case, which preserved our rights to keep our money and control of it.
Perhaps the term donate might be slightly a misnomer, only because if you note in the resolution that the Southampton Town Board and the East Hampton Town Trustees have also contributed over the course of several years. So I hear your concern, but I don't know if it's exactly applicable in this situation.
Okay. All right. Let's see. What's the next one on here?
So if we could table this, Jess, please.
Yes,
Thank
second
you.
on that?
Second.
Got seconded. All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next one is 2021-227, authorized contracts compliance office to request quotes for title report for Little Noyak Path on behalf of the Board of Trustees. This is to find out indeed the ownership of the road, which is very important. So I make a motion that we approve this.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, Ann's next with the amendment to the Blue Book.
Trustee Resolution 2021-228, notice of adoption for the amendment to the Blue Book, Section 53, entitled Pure Line and Designated Areas. This one is specifically for Sag Harbor Cove. In order to allow for sufficient water depth of 2.5 feet at average high water line for installation of floating docks in Sag Harbor Cove.
Okay.
This is a extension for the Pure Line. If you go down to F, the one thing I'd like to request is that we make an amendment to specify the specific tax map numbers around Bay Point that we are requesting the Pure Line extension to from 60 feet to 75 feet.
Okay, you're going to have to make a motion to recall and amend.
Okay, so can we please have a motion to recall and amend to denote the Suffolk County tax map numbers?
That's on specifically Resolution 2021-228. You made a motion to recall and amend. So you have a second on that?
Second.
Ed seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so
Sorry, do you have the tax map numbers, or where would I find those?
James, the,
Okay. Okay, so the resolution that's on right now is 2021-228 to add to section F, Sag Harbor Cove, docks including floating docks are not to exceed 75 feet in length, measured from the average high water line into Sag Harbor Cove. This will include lots, tax map number beginning and tax map number ending. Do you have those?
James, if you look at the aerial that Matt Ivins did, the tax map numbers.
I'm gonna bring them up
the
so you guys can decide on what you want.
I'd recommend you tie this to water depth rather than individual tax map IDs.
No, you have to do it from this point to this point. That's why the tax map numbers were. There's no specific physical marker other than tax map numbers, such as Oneck Lane to Oneck Drain. You have to do it with a tax map number.
Water depth's still going to be a consideration based on our Blue Book regulations, but it will only be applicable from this tax map number to this tax map number.
Maximum.
You word this as a boundary, not specifically for the benefit of these specific lots. Okay.
Boundary.
Right. From this lot to this lot.
Yes, please. Thank you.
So could it be from Long Beach Road?
Well, I don't have a map in front of me.
I think this is not a good way to do this on the fly. I think you really should table this one, get your tax map number set, adjust this thing, and you know. I don't know.
This is changing the pier line in a harbor, and if we don't do it properly, someone's going to come along and say, "Well, I want it done like this in North Sea," and they're going to go, "Well, this is the way you did it." I'd rather do it more professionally.
Oh yeah, great. But look, this has been going on for a year now. Okay, let's get this straightened out for next meeting once and for all. Either whether it's a GPS coordinate or two tax map numbers from here to here. We discussed this morning on all the ones.
Well, do you know the property addresses of the from here to here? You know those two property addresses?
Well, if you bring that thing up there, it showed where.
I can bring it up if that's what you guys want. I could bring it up.
Bring it up.
Well, if you could pick those two and indicate, and then,
well, let's
perhaps in the resolution indicate that we're going to be listing those tax map numbers that are from this location to that location inclusive.
Yeah, so you go on the top one there is
Harbor Drive. The furthest one west.
Okay, I can't read it. What is the one on the bottom?
This one. Right here?
Are you?
No.
Which one?
When you say the one on the bottom, you mean the one that's on, that's.
I thought it was all the ones that were circles, wasn't it? Or no?
Yes.
Or you're just doing the round island there?
No,
the ones that are circled.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, so go on the bottom there. What's the bottom one?
So this is 20 Cove Drive. This one.
Okay.
Starting at 20 Cove Drive, going northerly to whatever the next one is, and then you head easterly towards. You could do it like that if you wanted to do it.
Well, you can go just go to the north one, the top one on the page.
Right.
This one. What's that address?
41
Harbor Drive.
41 Harbor Drive.
41.
Yep.
Harbor Drive, inclusive of the. Was that an island that was filled in?
Seal Island, I think it's called.
Inclusive of the properties. Oh, wait. Okay. What do you want to call it? Was that an island at one point that was created?
I think it's Seal Island. That's what John Semley used to call it.
Okay. Inclusive of Seal Island.
Seal Island, SEAL.
Yep.
Okay,
So I just want to confirm this language before we move on, please.
Yes.
yes,
Um,
okay,
So docks, including floating docks, are not to exceed 75 feet in length, measured from the average high water line into Sag Harbor Cove from 0900-009-03-055.1 to 0900-008-01-024, inclusive of the properties on Seal Island.
yes,
Then you're gonna want to specify that all other docks in Sag Harbor Cove are not to exceed 60 feet in length, correct?
no, we
Yes.
don't have to do that. We don't do that in other places. All Mauritius, everything in the town is
Well, it's 60 feet in the rest of Sag Harbor Cove.
all right, you can put it in.
Well, the way you have it in this, the way you have it written in now, you're just changing the entire Sag Harbor Cove to 75 feet. So Sean's right. If you're changing just that to that section, then you have to state that the rest of Sag Harbor Cove remains at 60 feet. Right?
Yes.
Doesn't matter. I'm
And
fine.
that'll qualify for the whole entire Sag Harbor Cove.
That'll reiterate. Okay, no problem.
So all other docks in Sag Harbor Cove are not to exceed 60 feet in length.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Rules
Thank
still
you.
apply. Okay,
Is everyone happy with that language then?
I am.
Okay,
So-
so could we please, I'd like to vote on this.
Yes.
Okay.
So Ann made the motion.
Second.
Bill seconded it. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
All right, so we have trustee resolution 2021-229. It's just the warrant for $7,134.68. You got BNB for $733.94, Safe Harbor Publications $145, Fisher Signs and Shirts $255, InterScience $2,800.90, Joseph R. Lombardo $750, Otis Ford $103, Riverhead Building Supply $961.08, Sokoloff Stern $495, Verizon Wireless $316.69, and WB Mason for $574.07 for $7,134.68. I feel like I'm losing my voice. Motion
Second.
to pay the bills.
Ed seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Okay, let's see. The next one is,
Do you want
Yep.
me to,
yeah, you don't have to read the whole thing, just we all know
I'll
what
just
it-
pull out the pertinent parts. Trustee Resolution 2021-230 to award and authorize the president to sign the contract for carp removal in Mill Pond. This is to allow the trustees to approve the bid that went through the process of going through the town clerk. And it would be, there were 4 bids that were received, opened and read aloud on September 15th. These bids were reviewed by the trustees and the purchasing agent for the town. It has been determined that Carp Solutions LLC is the lowest responsible bidder who meets the specifications for this project. And it is the recommendation of the trustees and the purchasing agent of the town that the contract for carp removal in Mill Pond be awarded to Carp Solutions LLC. The commencement of this contract shall be upon receipt of a fully executed contract shall expire December 31st, 2022. And the trustees have the option to renew this contract for 4 additional 1-year terms, if doing so is in the best interest of the town.
Okay, you're making the motion?
Well, the
Yes.
amount is not to exceed $24,688.
Thank you. Thank you. I'd like to request the approval of this contract.
I have one question.
Can we-
This is the contractor that we used last year for the carp removal.
It
And they were
is.
pretty successful.
They were
And
initially.
one other
yes.
question, do we have the New York State DEC permit in our name, or is it going to be in the other provider's name, Carp Solutions?
We've
It should be
requested
in
a
our name because
renewal,
we're hiring them as a subcontractor.
right? We've requested the renewal of that permit. And I believe that it will be in the trustee's name, but I can clarify that for you if you wish.
I believe it's
Okay.
listed in his contracting paperwork that he's got to be in total compliance of all permits, all regulatory authorities, so on and
Yes.
so forth. So
But-
it's been looked over by the town attorneys, the comptroller's office. It's all been gone through the procurement procedure of the town.
Right. And
I have one more question too. Is it possible that they keep us posted once a week? That way, when we get calls, people see polls or see different activity, we can see exactly what's happening.
sure, we can ask for that. To
Don't
get updates,
Updates, weekly
Sure.
update.
we can ask for updates.
They can email it to Jessica, then Jessica can email it out to us.
Yeah, we can request that.
Hmm.
Can we call the roll for this? Please?
Sure.
Would you like
Okay.
me to or Scott?
I have no problem. You want me to take care of it?
Yep. Do we have a second on this?
I
Second.
have no problem seconding it.
Second,
Okay.
So, President Schultz,
Aye.
Scott M. Horowitz, aye. Ed J. Warner Jr.,
Yes.
William Pell IV,
yes.
and Welker.
So this was a difficult decision for me because although I'm in complete agreement to continue this work, there were 4 bidders here. 3 were from out of state. 1 was a local company, and I hope that going forward, we can look to some of our local companies to support them in efforts such as this. So my vote is yes. But I hope that going forward, we can look for other alternatives.
That's fine if they come in as the lowest bid and they're qualified.
I don't think that things always need to go to the lowest bidder. Sometimes you get what you pay for. And you need to look at the big picture here that these other companies are coming from out of state, although they do have extensive experience, that sometimes local knowledge is the best way to go.
Okay.
Well, true, but it's nice to use local folks, but at the end of the day, the board has been held accountable and responsible, and we do have a procedure that for procurement that we have to follow. We have to follow the municipal regulations to make sure we are properly handling and safeguarding taxpayer funds. You had money go from the general fund to the trustees to oversee this project, and everybody's dotting a lot of I's and crossing T's. And, at the end of the day, if you do the due diligence, the folks that are getting tasked with this are experienced people in handling this activity, and they have to perform. So we're in total compliance with all procedures in taking this action. And I also, they're able to get going ASAP, and there was a time element to getting this project done and stay in compliance with all the other taxpayer money that we spent on the studies and the start of trying to remedy the mill pond, which the trustees and various other regulatory authorities and the residents that live there have been trying to do for decades. So let's get going on this thing here. Okay, we've done our due diligence.
I think at the end of the day, we'll see how many fish they catch and how well they do. Then
Well, they
we
have
absolutely
we'll
will.
grade them.
We absolutely will.
They have a
Okay.
performance goal that they have to fulfill.
Correct.
Getting paid.
Mr. Abramson, do you have a question?
I wanted to ask whether it's possible that you have a handle on what's necessary now to complete the contract time-wise so that we can look forward to their actually beginning work in the month of October?
The answer is yes, we do have a handle on that. And
Signing it.
there's been very good communication between us and between the contractor. And they know exactly what it is that they have to provide us and their ability to start work immediately upon the satisfaction that all the requirements have been met. And it appears to me that everybody is moving in a expeditious fashion. This resolution is very important to be passed, even to the point of getting this resolution on as quickly as we could to get moving. So I would have to say yes. And based on what I'm seeing right now in terms of how everybody is performing, I think that you're going to be very close to what you need in terms of the expeditious nature of getting going on this.
Well, we're very grateful on behalf of Mill Pond for your expediting all of this and getting it done in really quick time. It's great.
It's our pleasure, Mr. Abramson. Thank you for all your community involvement. It's much appreciated. And, you folks have been very effective in getting things done. I'm just hoping from my perspective, because, I've been involved in this for a long time with you folks. I'd like to see some good follow through and I'd like to see some good results. And I think if we all work together and do the best we can, maybe we got a shot at that. So we're on our way here, sir.
It'll also be interesting to compare the results with that different modalities are that we see with the comparison between what's being done in Lake Agawam and what's being done in Mill Pond.
Yep.
As far as diminishing the numbers and harmful algal blooms.
Okay.
So this motion is
Do
carried.
we have a report on that now already on Lake Agawam?
No, we have to
No.
really move along because we have
We
an
got another
executive
meeting.
executive session start soon. So, okay.
Thank you, guys.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it.
I just have one other issue. I'd like to do a walk-on resolution. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Right. Okay, I'd like to, in conversations today in executive session to that end, I'd like to walk on a resolution stating as followed: resolved that our coastal geologist, Robert Young, be directed to thoroughly review and offer comments regarding the current MEPOX management plan and propose either revisions or replacement of the plan which better reflects the board's ability to manage the resource.
Second.
Any question, other discussion on it? Okay, Bill seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so carried. Anybody else have anything further?
No, I know we
one
have exec
thing-
session yet.
Okay,
Dredging is going to start in Far Pond today, setting up for tomorrow's dredge. So hopefully they'll get that done in 2 or 3 days and then be over to Middle Pond. At that point, they'll be heading back to the Peconic, at which time they'll start with Cold Springs. Hopefully they're going to be pumping the material to the west side of Cold Springs, and then they will be heading over to Suffolk to do a project over there. So that's the update on the dredging.
very good. Okay, so with that, I'd like to close the meeting and go into executive session. I'll make that motion.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Discuss litigation.
Litigation, thank you.
And Jessica, I'll forward that the language of that resolution.
That's what I was gonna ask, thank you.
Okay. All right. Meeting's closed.
Okay.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Aye.